Hello everybody, this is DayVeeJay, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm just going to give a quick introduction, but if you don't give a shit and just want to get into the main part of the video, you can just go ahead and skip to the time on screen. So basically, I've been thinking of ways to branch out from the main content I've been producing so far, the PS1 reviews and retrospectives, and I thought a good idea would be to do some videos where I tell some of the gaming related stories that have happened to me over the years. I've been playing video games for over 20 years, so there's been some pretty funny and crazy things that have happened. These videos won't be like super regular since I don't have a ton of decent enough stories to be able to make one of these like every week, so this will probably be just a once in a while sort of thing. So this is actually the most recent thing that's happened to me. It's the time that I effectively scammed myself. So this happened around about 3 or 4 months ago. I logged into my internet banking and looked at my statement, and I noticed a couple charges that I didn't recognise, both to PlayStation, totaling almost £200, and I was like, what the fuck, I've not bought anything off PlayStation recently. So that immediately had alarm bells going off that maybe somebody's gotten their hands on my details and are buying shit on PlayStation and charging it to me. But I have had PlayStation Plus and Now subscriptions in the past, so I was also wondering if maybe I had a subscription that I thought I'd cancelled but hadn't, and it renewed by itself. So the first thing I did was log into my PSN account and take a look at my recent purchases, and there they were, the two charges. One was for a PlayStation Plus Gold subscription, the other was for a bunch of games. There was Horizon Forbidden West on PS5, even though at the time I didn't even have a PS5. Then there was Devil May Cry or something, one of the Street Fighters I think, the Batman Arkham trilogy which I already have on disc, and then a few indie games that I'd never even heard of. So the Gold subscription I wasn't too sure about because, like I said, I've had PlayStation Plus in the past, so maybe I did think I'd cancelled it when really I hadn't and it had renewed by itself. But I sure as shit didn't buy these fucking games. I've never bought a game off the PlayStation Store in my life. I hate that shit. I've always been a physical media kind of guy. I like to be able to hold the disc in my hand. The only digital storefront I buy from is Steam, and even that's just because you don't have a choice with most PC games these days. Fuck if there's a game coming out that I want, but it's coming out digital first, I'll always wait for the physical release. That's just me. So anyway, I've seen the subscription and the games, and I don't know how the fuck this has happened, but fuck it. We'll figure that out later. Right now I just want my fucking money back. But we all know how much Sony just loves giving people their money back. So yeah, you have to go through the fucking refund process, and of course they do what all these fucking companies do. They make it as confusing and convoluted as possible, make you jump through loads of fucking hoops in the hope you just say fuck it, I can't be arsed with this shit right now, I'll do it later, and then hope you forget about it so they can keep the money. But the sneaky fuckers have never met me before. What, you think you can just do me out of 200 quid and walk away? Yeah. I don't fucking think so, mate. I'm like fucking John Wick when it comes to that shit. I'll stop at nothing when there's money involved. Fuck, I'll get a plane over to Japan and barge into Sony headquarters and demand a refund from the CEO himself. Alright. I would if the trip there didn't cost a lot more than 200 quid, but anyway. So yeah, I end up going round and round in fucking circles, trying to submit a claim or a ticket or whatever, but that didn't work. There was an instant messaging thing so you could talk to a fucking rep or whatever, but that didn't work either, because I couldn't get connected for some reason. I then found a number I could call, but surprise surprise, there was no fucking answer. So then I tried the messaging thing again, and finally I managed to get connected to someone. So I explained what was going on, and they asked me for all the usual shit, fucking PlayStation account number, email address, what have you. Then they asked me for my fucking console serial number, which I didn't even know, so I had to go and get that. But they said if I was inactive for like 2 minutes or something, they would move on to the next person in the queue. So I had to grab a fucking pen and paper, run downstairs, pull out the console, flip it over, write down the serial number, then rush back upstairs. Didn't even have time to put it back. So I give them the serial number and they're like, okay, I see the transactions, do you want me to cancel them? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want them cancelled, I didn't make them. I'm worried somebody's got my credit card details or they've gotten into my PSN account or something. Or, I didn't say it exactly like that, but that's pretty much the general gist of it. And they say, well, these transactions were made from your specific console, so the only way someone else could have made them is if they broke into my house and physically used my console to access the store. That's literally what they said. And that just completely blew my mind. They're saying the purchases came from my console, but I know I didn't make them, and no one else in my house uses the PlayStation, so they didn't make them either. So what the fuck's going on? So I just sit there for like a minute, no idea what to think. Then finally I have like a light bulb moment and realise what's happened. And it was seriously like a moment in a film where the main character figures out the big twist. I was like fucking Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense or Edward Norton in Fight Club. I couldn't believe it. So here's what happened. Basically, when I'm playing these old games to do reviews of them, I'm playing on an emulator, which most people won't have a problem with, but I know some people don't like emulation. And while I do actually have a physical PS1 lying around here somewhere, I'm a shite going to the trouble of hooking that shit up and then fucking around to set up a fucking video capture card to capture gameplay off the telly, when I can just play the game on my PC and record with the built-in screen recorder. But the thing is, when I've been playing these games on the emulator, I've been using my DualShock 4, the same DualShock 4 that I use with my PS4, and every time I would turn on the controller to connect it to the PC, it would turn on the PS4, and because the PS4 is downstairs, I couldn't be asked to go down and switch it off, so I would just leave it. So when I've been playing the games on my PC, I've been controlling the PS4 at the same time, so I must have gone into the store and then I've been buying shit without realising it, because my card information will be on there because I've paid for fucking memberships through my console before, so I would have been able to do it without entering anything. So yeah, it was a weird feeling when I realised what happened. I felt like such a fucking idiot, but at the same time I was probably the most relieved I'd ever been in my whole life. Realising that my bank account wasn't compromised, no one had access to my PSN account, it was just me being an absolute fucking wazzock. So yeah, I explained what happened to the Sony person and they understood and refunded the money. Although they did try some shady shit. They offered to refund most of it and put the rest in a fucking digital wallet or whatever so I could buy a game with it. But I just said fuck that and got them to refund it. So it turned out alright in the end. I managed to get all my money back and there's been no other strange activity on my bank account, and you can bet that after that I always make sure to go down and turn the PS4 off whenever I connect my controller to the PC. Although now I've just got a second DualShock that I use solely for the PC, so it doesn't connect with the console. But yeah, that's the story of how I scammed myself. I mean, I don't know if scamked's the right word, but for lack of a better term, unless it's been an absolute daft fucker, but I don't think YouTube would approve of that title. But yeah, I hope you found that story amusing. Why don't you leave a comment to tell me how big a fucking idiot I am? If you enjoyed the video then please leave a like, or don't if you didn't. And if you're interested in classic games and gaming nostalgia, then subscribe to my channel. This has been DayVeeJay, thank you very much for watching the video and I'll see you in a bit.